Good evening, Notre Dame class of 2029, and welcome home. My name is Micki, and I am privileged to serve as Notre Dame's Vice President for Enrollment. And tonight, I'm most excited to welcome you, the newest members of our talented, inspired, and faith-filled global Notre Dame family. To the students joining us this evening, congratulations. You have pursued your dreams. You've challenged yourselves. You've dedicated time to benefit those around you. And to the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, mentors, and friends who may be joining us this evening, thank you for the love, respect, and support you consistently show these impressive young people. Notre Dame is deeply grateful for you. Students, we recognize that you have an important decision ahead. Where will you call home for the next 4 years and beyond? And while this may seem like a daunting decision, I encourage you to approach it with an open heart and mind, energetic and bold dreams, and a lot of fun and enthusiasm. You have earned this. Please enjoy every moment. Tonight, I have the privilege of celebrating with you much that Notre Dame has to offer. Now, like most universities, our mission focuses on extraordinary scholarship, groundbreaking research, and rigorous learning environments. But as the leading Catholic research university, there is another defining component to our mission that guides all that we do: our Catholic character and our commitment to forming the full human person. This commitment to investing in the full human person extends beyond the scholarly exploration that will occur in your classrooms, research labs, or even global experiences. At Notre Dame, our students expect and they receive a deeper, broader, and richer education. It is shaped by our unique residence halls, our global experiences, our campus ministry, and ultimately, the care, respect, and love we offer every member of this family. There is a spirit, an ethos, and a sacred nature to Notre Dame, and I can't wait for you to experience it. Members of the Notre Dame class of 2029, again, welcome home. Before we begin our conversation tonight, I did want to offer to those tuning in from New Orleans and Los Angeles, and for those who have family members affected by the senseless violence and tragic wildfires, please know of our abundant love and prayers. It is now my privilege to introduce 3 Notre Dame students who will join us for this evening's virtual rally, and I'm going to begin with a young man hailing from the great city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Brendan, would you please offer an introduction?
Absolutely, thank you. And again, many prayers to the people in New Orleans and, of course, Los Angeles. But I'm Brendan Villavasso, and I'm a sophomore at Notre Dame studying finance and real estate. And one of my favorite things that I'm involved in on campus is, working with the football video operations. It's really cool, starting off as a fan, then going to high school and coming here as a student and just being able to see all the ins and outs. And I would love to mention that I live in the greatest dorm on campus, Dillon Hall.
Just to clarify, that was Men's Hall on campus, the greatest. I am Alejandra Ricardo. I am a junior here at the University of Notre Dame, double majoring in political science and theology. I'm originally from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, but my home under a dome is Pascal West Hall. Go Weasels! And definitely one of my favorite things to be involved here on campus, aside from working with a wonderful team in admissions as an intern, has to be being involved with our ND Right to Life Club. As an officer on the board, I've had so many great opportunities, and I've been able to do so much meaningful work, and it's just one of the great blessings Notre Dame has given me.
And I think I'll round us out here. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Danny Miller. I hail from Detroit, Michigan, but on campus, I live in the really, really best men's hall on campus, Graham Family Hall, which was recently built last year. Besides that, I'm a biochemistry major on the pre-med track as well, with a minor in compassionate care and medicine. Besides doing science and doing research on campus, I'm also involved in the Notre Dame Folk Choir, where I have the opportunity to use our ministry and our gifts as students to kind of spread the message that we have as a Catholic university to the South Bend and global community too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you to each of you once again. I have the privilege of knowing all of you, working with the two of you, and I am extremely excited for those tuning in to get to know you better tonight. We do have some questions that have been pre-submitted. If anyone has additional questions that they'd like to submit, please submit those throughout tonight, and we will do our best to address those this evening. All right, so I sensed a little bit of rivalry between residence halls. We're going to save that for a question later tonight, but let's start with favorite Notre Dame tradition. Danny, what do you think?
You're putting me on the spot there, but if I had to start off with what my favorite Notre Dame tradition is, I think I want to go to the heart of campus. So there's lots of things going on throughout a Notre Dame Students' Day, whether it's clubs, the number of classes you have, just meeting new people every day. I think it's really important that Notre Dame students have an opportunity to slow down, reflect on this opportunity they have. And I think the best place for us to do that is at the Grotto at Notre Dame. So the Grotto at Notre Dame is a small replica of the one in Lourdes, France. And it gives people the opportunity, whether they are of the Catholic faith or any faith background, to go with their friends, their people that are in their halls, and have this opportunity to reflect on their days, reflect on the things that went well, maybe mourn with each other. But I found some of my greatest community going to the Grotto with my friends throughout the years here.
That's great. Thank you. Alejandra?
One of my favorite Notre Dame traditions, apart from the one Danny talked about, which is definitely really great, definitely gets very popular during midterms and finals, as one can imagine. But aside from that one, I will have to say my favorite tradition is singing the alma mater at the end of probably most popular every football game, but I think anytime we sing it, it's great. If you've ever had the blessing of hearing it, the lyrics of it is so powerful, and it's a love letter to Our Lady and Our Lady's University. But just the way that we sing it, I don't know if you know this, but whenever we do sing the alma mater, we will kind of put our arms around each other and sing it all together, rocking side by side. And I think it's a metaphor for the really powerful and the community, the really great community that exists here at Notre Dame, and the way that we think of each other as the Notre Dame family.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, those are two great traditions that I love. Mine's maybe a little bit more fun, but I love the snowball fight that takes place after the first, real snowfall. Like when it gets cold, you might have like a little bit like some flurries, but like the first major snowfall that might come in November or December, everyone goes outside on South Quad and they just, have at it. I feel like a kid again, and coming from the South, it's just, I've never seen snow before, and seeing it here and just being able to be a kid and just be involved and meet so many people and, compete, and it's just a great experience, and I think that's my favorite tradition.
That's great. I want to expand a little bit on yours, Alejandra. I, too, love the alma mater. I love it that we sing it at the end of an athletic event. I love it that we sing it at the end of Mass. And it's so unifying. In fact, this New Year's Eve, we were in New Orleans in advance of the Sugar Bowl, watching the fireworks right there alongside the Mississippi River, and everyone linked arms and sang the alma mater at midnight. And it was so powerful and this unifying, beautiful tradition. So really, really great answers there. Good job.
We try our best.
You try your best. That's right. Okay. All right. So we're going to ask Alejandra and Danny this next one. That sound good? How are roommates assigned? Are they random? Will incoming first-year students put in to submit a survey? Tell us a little bit about that process. And somehow it works itself out because you are all very proud of your respective residence halls. So speak a little bit, too, about the affinity and the culture within the halls.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start us off with that one. I guess before I even start to answer the question, I should probably talk a little bit about the residential hall life system here, just for all of you that don't know. So here at Notre Dame, we have 33, I think, as of this year, single-sex residence halls on campus. And so by virtue of your acceptance letter and when you enroll, you are going to be placed randomly into one of these residence halls. And these residence halls are kind of going to become one of the most significant, I guess, centers for community here on campus. Each of our residence halls is kind of, I guess I like to describe them as their own very own Harry Potter house, because they each have their own colors, their own traditions, their own mascots, and they each have like their little own personality, even though it's random. So it turns out to be really, really awesome, kind of magical, if you ask me. They're going to be like this great source of community. And so you're going to be randomly placed into one of these residence halls, and you're also going to be randomly placed with a roommate up until one, or if you're placed in a quad, you're going to be placed with 3 random roommates, so that's going to depend. That's also going to be a random assignment. So there's a lot of magic elements that go into all of that, but so that's kind of how you're going to be placed with your roommate. And I think definitely when I first heard that sounds a little scary, right? Coming to a completely new place, being, calling home, I guess, this completely new dorm room, and living, sharing a room with someone you haven't met. But I will say that my random roommate has been one of the best, or perhaps the best, the greatest blessing Notre Dame has given me. She is my absolute best friend. We do almost everything together. She's also an intern. She happens to be studying abroad right now, so I miss her dearly. I do not know Notre Dame without her, but I'm finding out how great it is, as of his own too. But definitely, you will meet a lot of people through this random roommate assignment, and you will meet people that may be very different from you. So that's how my roommate is. We're totally opposite, but it works. Again, the magic.
I have to
Great.
say, I agree with you completely. It's kind of a scary process going in.
Yeah.
You're like, many schools have these kind of quizzes you fill out of, this is when I go to bed, this is what I want to study, these are
Yep.
things I'm interested in. But you come into Notre Dame and it's just, you're going into a residence hall, this is who you're going to be with. But as you said, I think it's one of the greatest blessings we have. I remember my freshman, sophomore year roommate, I decided to go with him for one more year after it as well. And we were people who were more different than you could ever imagine. He was like this football player from Philadelphia. He was super into video games and sports. I'm this kid from Detroit who really likes choir and singing and running on a track. Very different people. But having the opportunity to meet someone with such a different background and what they want to study and what they're interested in really gave me a larger perspective on Notre Dame, because they're not just going to lump you with people of one group, one college.
Yep.
They wanted to meet people of many different backgrounds. So he was a finance major, I was biochemistry. But meeting these different people and having this group of people in a hall that are so different, it really allows you to build this larger community and have a more worldly perspective in Notre Dame, I think, too.
Yeah. Part of the developmentally appropriate or age-appropriate development, right? As you're growing and maturing. It's great. Kind of an extension of that, Brendan, if you don't mind. Is housing guaranteed? Do students live on campus all 4 years? Give us a little sense of that.
Absolutely. Housing is guaranteed for first-year students, and most people live on campus. It's a great experience. It makes it more community-based. I think that's my favorite part. No one stays on campus and they're like, oh, I dread this dorm. I mean, they're just fully immersed in the culture. I mean, they enjoy it. Some seniors choose to stay and they choose to become, RAs and just push forward the culture of their dorm. And I think that's a very important thing at Notre Dame, because the dorm is it's more than a place you just go to sleep. It's a place you become a different person, kind of. You grow, you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about life, you meet different people, and you learn a lot about the places that they're from. And it's, one of the most important things about being a student here, I think. And I want to stay on campus, but, it's not for everybody. Some choose to leave their senior year, and, there's plenty, off-campus options. But I think a good number choose to stay on campus their senior year because it's just a great experience. And I've also heard people that go off campus and they say, "Oh man, I should have stayed on campus."
Miss it, right? They miss it.
It's such a homey feel,
Yeah.
It's great, man. And my roommate is my best friend, and my random roommate, I'm not rooming with him this year, but we still keep in contact, and he's a great guy. And my first year was so smooth with him. I mean, we had different sleep schedules, but it was easy to talk to them, and try and figure out what works well with each other and how we can, live together responsibility-wise and just, all types of things. And, it's a great experience, and I love the residential system here.
It's great. From my perspective, all 3 of you visibly light up when you talk about your residence halls. It's really awesome. I mean, truly, you smile, you can see the joy, you can see the authentic love that you have for your community and your roommates. So good for you.
I generally think it's probably the best part of Notre Dame is being in the
Ah.
residential life and being in community with people for 3 to 4 years. It's kind of like its own family on campus.
Yep. That persists forever, frankly. Okay, Danny, internships. A lot of questions came in advance of tonight. How easy is it to get an internship? Is it a priority? What's the process? Give us a little bit of context to that.
Yeah, so when I came in here, I was also worried. I was like, how am I going to get an internship? I want to get one right off freshman year to get ready for med school as well. But the great resources in Notre Dame is they have many different offices that support people across the school in finding internships, figuring out what they actually want to do with their life too. So one of the resources I used quite a bit was the Center for Career Development. So they were able to help me work on my resume, how to meet with people, do an interview, reach out to new employers. And what they were actually able to help me do is over my first summer after Notre Dame as a freshman, I was able to work downtown in Detroit doing a full-time job doing research as well. And I really attribute that to the resources they had at Notre Dame, but they also helped me get connected with physicians in the area too, so I could shadow, meet
great.
people, and really stay on track for everything they had to do here as well.
That's great. Wonderful. Alejandra, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, I can add a little bit. Going back to the Center for Career Development, I will say they are one of the best tools on campus if you're looking for, for help with your internships. And I think there's two really great things about them. One is that they will meet you wherever you're at. So let's say that you kind of have very little idea of what you want to do and just want someone that will walk that path with you. They will do that. They will, figure out what is it that you want to do, try new things with you, and kind of like figure that out with you. But if, let's say, you kind of already know what you want to do, they will also really help you prepare for interviews or kind of touch up your resume and do all that stuff. So I think that's one of their really great things. The other thing is that they have a great team with people that kind of specialize in different areas. So it's not just like one or series of people that have no connection to the field that you might want to go into. But more than that, it's a team of people that are connected to these areas, know people in these areas, maybe even worked in that area themselves, and so they're just a great source of knowledge and wealth. Because they will also have experiences in the areas that you might want to go into as well.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll add on to that is the alumni network of Notre Dame is really one of a kind.
Yeah.
I think there's over 300 clubs of Notre Dame across the globe. When I was in Dublin over the past semester, there was even a club there who would invite us out to watch Notre Dame games. But they're a great resource to reach out and find different opportunities in different cities as well.
Yep. So let's shift gears a little bit to kind of the geographic diversity of the student body, which, you mentioned residence hall is one of the greatest things. I also think this is one of the greatest things about Notre Dame is that every year students matriculate from every single U.S. state and typically about 100 different countries. So it's fantastic. You can't answer this because Detroit is a 3-hour drive. But for the two of you, you're not at home, right? It's pretty far away. You've got students from all over coming here to this campus. How's that been for you? The transition to Notre Dame, the resources here, friends and family staying in touch. Just give us a little context to that of your respective experiences.
Yeah, I can start off with that. Leaving home is a big step, for a lot of people. And I think Notre Dame does an excellent job making people feel at home and making people feel welcome. And it's passed down from the culture, from the older people in your dorm. They pass it down from the seniors to the juniors to the sophomores and the freshmen. And it's your first time on campus, and they just create a culture that tries to pull you out of your shell. And I remember my first semester, I felt like I was maybe too cool for school, and I'm not doing all that. But as time passed and I'm meeting people, I'm like, wow, I'm not too cool for this. This is incredible. This is cooler than me, And I was just able to experience so many things, and instead of staying in my room and just, almost making myself feel homesick by talking to my friends at home and talking to my friends that, stayed closer to home to go to school. And when there was just so much right outside of my door, that just make me feel like this is a second home, and it's incredible. And it's definitely the dorm culture, I think, that hedges and leads that homey feeling. And of course, in the classroom as well, the teachers, they make you feel welcome. They make you feel like you belong. And that's another thing that's just perfect, I feel like, in my opinion. But it starts with the dorm. It's where you lay your head up, lay your head down at night, and it's where you wake up and you walk in the hallway and you see someone you never met, and they go, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm good. How are you?"
Yep.
"Oh, they're good as well."
And they mean it.
Yes,
They genuinely want to know.
They genuinely mean it, and now you're having a conversation, and every time you see them from that point on, it's just a nice conversation you can have. Maybe you can ask them about something, and they'll help you, and y'all are both hours away from home, and it's incredible, honestly.
So can I push you a little bit more on this theme? Because one of the other questions was, how does Notre Dame make Notre Dame freshmen feel welcomed, right? And it starts with the dorm, right? So much of that you've just spoken about originates from your dorm community. Will you share a little bit about, like, literally from day one, welcome weekend,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yes.
It's such an important part of this welcoming and belonging and culture. So will you share a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Welcome weekend in and of itself is just an amazing experience. I can speak to very specific, traditions in Dillon Hall, where I live. We have a very, big rival on campus that, 20 feet away from us. They're
Right
our
next
neighbors.
door.
Yeah, right next door. Alumni Hall, and Welcome Weekend is kind of centered around, friendly competition between Dillon and alumni. There's tug of war. There's all types of competitions, and we also have like a rivalry week that takes place later in the year, and they just throw you in, and it's like, you're our strongest soldier. Go fight against alumni, and it's just great. It just pulls you out. And Welcome Weekend also just has many different events where you can meet other first year students that you learn from their experience as well, and you just get all these tools in your toolbox. And Notre Dame just does a great job of just pushing you and bringing you out and just making you a great student, honestly.
great.
And that's from Welcome Weekend, the dorms, the first classes, Moreau first year experience. That's
Yep.
another thing. There's just so many incredible opportunities to just come out your shell and let Notre Dame change you.
That's great. The rivalry that Brendan speaks of between Dillon and alumni may also be evident in that first snowball fight on South Quad.
Yeah.
You're pretty prevalent in
Yeah.
that, wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely. And I try not to like let it, come out when I'm just talking to someone from alumni. It's not impossible to be nice to them, but it's like, oh,
It's hard.
what dorm are you from? Oh, alumni. Oh, But I mean, they're great guys, and
Yeah.
it's all good fun.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Alejandra, how about you?
Yeah, so aside from everything you speak about from the residence halls, which is true, I mean, from the moment that you are driving to campus into your residence hall, you will have, during Welcome Weekend, you will have upperclassmen that are cheering you on from the moment you walk out of your car, carrying your stuff up to your room. It's really incredible. Just how, I guess, like, how quickly you become a part of this community. It's like so inclusive. It's almost like unbelievable, but it truly is. It's such a great experience. I remember my Welcome Weekend as well. But aside from the residence halls, because there is more to Notre Dame than that, I will have to say I found a lot of community in clubs. As I mentioned, Notre Dame Right to Life has been just an incredible part of my Notre Dame experience, and I've definitely found a lot of community there in a lot of very different ways. In terms of service, I found a lot of ways to get involved with that and serve with the group, as well as in terms of spirituality and prayer. So definitely there's a bunch of different facets, but I will say club life here is very, very active. and people are very, very involved in clubs, which is kind of surprising because we do, I mean, academics are tough, but definitely I will say that's been a very significant part of the way that I found a lot of community here at Notre Dame, aside from, of course, the residential hall life system.
That's great. Thank you. One of the questions that was posed in advance of this evening was about financial aid. And the question was, when would an admitted student receive their financial aid package, speaking about the cost of attendance, et cetera. And so I wanted to take that for a moment and then ask Alejandra to add to this. For those of you tuning in tonight, let me begin by emphasizing Notre Dame's commitment to ensuring that a Notre Dame education is affordable to all admitted students. It's an extremely high priority for Our Lady's University and one we're deeply committed to. And because of that, if any of you had completed your financial aid application, at the time that admission decisions were released in mid-December, you should have received your financial aid offer at that same time. In the event that you didn't, it was likely due to perhaps an incomplete component of your financial aid application. But as soon as we have those completed financial aid applications, we will turn that around and get your financial aid offer in your hands as soon as possible. And as I said, it is one of our highest priorities here at Notre Dame to make sure that this education is affordable and accessible to all admitted students. Alejandra, tell us a little bit about, from your perspective, what's your experience with financial aid been and how's that impacted your Notre Dame experience?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to say just a thank you to Notre Dame, to their commitment for allowing me to be here. Definitely, the commitment, it's not just words. And I think my experience here is testimony to that commitment, and they mean it, right? And my experience, it's kind of funny, right? So I did not submit all of my documents in time in order to receive in order to receive my financial aid offer when I got my acceptance. But I will say, I'm the first in my family to come to school in the States, so I was, kind of playing it by ear in that. Everyone in my family was, and so I will say, kind of the reason that I'm here was because I was able to speak with the team here at the Office of Financial Aid, and they really helped me throughout that process. Even without, deciding to enroll here, just by virtue of wanting to apply, by virtue of being admitted, they really walked with me through filling out, those applications, figuring out what I needed to fill out, what I needed to submit, by when, and all of these things. And even though I did not submit them in time, I was able to get my offer in time in order to accept and enroll here before May 1st. And I'm very, very glad to the financial aid team. And ever since, they have been, they have kept up that commitment. And I have made sure to submit my documents in time now. I have learned that. But
that's good, see? Okay, so you mentioned earlier academics are rigorous here, right? It's a top 20 institution. It's hard. We can't sugarcoat that, and we're really proud of the education we offer our students. I'd like to pull on that thread a little bit, though, and maybe ask Danny and Brendan, while we're committed to making sure you have a rigorous academic experience, you also should have a good balance. You're learning to grow in all aspects of your life, mind, body, and spirit. How do you balance schoolwork and life? Does that happen on campus? Does it happen off campus? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think anyone who's applying to Notre Dame knows it's going to be a rigorous education.
Yep.
It's a top 20 university. But where I want to start is the amount of support students receive in the classroom. On the first day of classes, I've had almost every single professor at Notre Dame ask me, when do you want me available for office hours? How can I be supportive of students who are entering into my class? The amount of support that teachers give here at Notre Dame is really something I never expected when I came here. And they've really supported me, whether it's office hours that are super late nights, or just inviting me to their office to work through problem sets or to do research. They've been extremely helpful to help me find that balance and still be successful if I'm struggling. But outside of the classroom, obviously, you're going to have lots of homework. It'll be a busy, academic, rigorous environment. But in your hall, you're going to have many opportunities to relax with friends, to go out on campus, see the hall events going on. Some of my favorite things that happen on campus are when some of the halls put on their events. For example, one of my favorite ones is going to the Keenan Review, where they put on like this SNL skit for the whole night. Thousands of students go, and it's such a fun time. You will laugh like you never have before. But my other favorite one is doing the Fisher Regatta. So what they do is they go over to St. Mary's Lake. We all kind of build these boats that we're going to sail across. Us science majors or maybe arts and letters, we kind of start sailing, and then we start slowly sinking down and down and down a little bit more.
Have you sunk at this point?
I have sunk once. I don't like to admit it. It wasn't a fun day. But the engineers, you just see like they're almost in like a motorboat, just like cruising across the lake. But it's really kind of working hard in the classroom and then having these great experiences outside with friends and students in the residential life that really make you have a great time with doing your studies and then getting this opportunity to really relax and enjoy the community at Notre Dame too.
That's great. Brennan, what do you think?
Yeah, to capture both sides of both sides of this question, I would like to highlight the professors, and like you said, they really do go out their way to make you feel like you matter, and I think that's because they truly do believe that you matter, and they love to make you feel welcome, and they go out their way to learn your name, and they make it like their own challenge, like. They say, oh, I'm going to know everyone in this classroom's name by the end of the week or by the end of this month. And it's like 100-person classes, and they just do an excellent job of that. And they really do want to see you succeed. And one of the big things as a junior or senior in high school that I would hear from teachers or parents or people in my life, they would say, oh, in college, you may feel like you're just a number, or if you go like to these bigger schools on these bigger campuses, you can find yourself feeling like a number. The professor, they may not care as much as they care in high school, and you have to make sure that you motivate yourself. And although it's true that you do have to motivate yourself and stay up to date and follow the course and things of that nature, but they don't make you feel like a number. They make you feel like yourself, and that's one of the most amazing things. And like you said, going out their way for office hours, like they may have their office hours listed and times that you can best reach them, but you can send a quick email and say, this won't work for me. Can we meet at another time? And they'll work with you, and they'll truly try to meet you. And it's just incredible. And some teachers even give you their phone numbers at times, and it's just an incredible experience in the classroom. And you can also find that balance in the dorm, because you're in a dorm with people that were in your shoes before. Like as a freshman, the sophomores were in your shoes last year or last semester, and you can ask them questions, and it's just an incredible balance that you can find on campus. And also off campus, there's plenty to do. I mean, there's the Eddy Street Commons that you can go to, grab a bite to eat with some friends, but I almost feel like there's so much on campus, you don't even need to leave, honestly.
That's good.
And another thing on campus that people ask me at home is that, they hear Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana, what's there? Is it just the Golden Dome and some classrooms? And no, I mean, there's a Sam's, Costco, Walmart, Target. There's just plenty of opportunities. Like you can truly be under the impression that you go to school in the middle of nowhere here, and that's it's really not true. I mean, there's plenty of things outside and that'll keep you well equipped to grow and become a better person, honestly. And that, I don't know, there's everything here. I mean, it's almost unbelievable, but I love everything about it. And there's incredible opportunities to perfectly find that balance that you need, that is unique to you.
And I have to say, even though we're in South Bend, I love the community here. The restaurants are like right on Eddy Street. If you want like Raising Cane's, or if you want to get like Qdoba, if you want, go right out into the city. Howard Park for ice skating too. If you want to go see the movies, there's really a bit of everything to do in South Bend. So I really love it here as well.
Yeah.
And the local community loves you guys. I mean, we love having the students out and about, integrated into the city and the community. It's a really good thing, right? I mean, I wish everyone tuning in could feel the energy, and when you smile, right? I mean, it's authentic. The love that you guys have for this place is very palpable and contagious. So I mentioned in my opening comments, our Catholic character informs everything we do, right? Could you speak, Alejandra, a bit about faith and growing of your faith and things that you've done to get involved here on campus?
Absolutely. So I guess I'll start off. There's so much to talk about there in that, just in that
Highlight
question.
two, right? Highlight two things. How about that?
But just to start off, I guess I'll talk about campus ministry, just because we have one of the largest campus ministry staffs, I think, in the world. It's genuinely so big and so helpful. They're such a great resource for anything and everything, but I guess particularly if you're wanting to grow in your faith, whatever that faith may be, you don't have to be Catholic to go to campus ministry and have them help you. If you are not Catholic, they are going to work with you. They are going to perhaps find where the nearest local place of worship is, and they will find ways to get you there. If they have to pay for your Uber, if they maybe know some other students who are of that faith tradition, and maybe you guys can carpool, they will connect you with that community if that's something that's important to you. If you just need to talk to someone, definitely campus ministry is also a place to go. But for the students that are Catholic, campus ministry is also going to be a great source of support and resource. They're going to have, and I guess this is not just for Catholics too, they'll have a bunch of prayer groups, and there's going to be a lot of clubs, a lot of interreligious clubs as well, non-denominational. I'll highlight ISI, Iron Sharpens Iron. I really love to go to their meetings. They meet on Thursdays, and it's just a great worship space because it's very friendly, it seems very casual, but there's also it's very powerful. The way the songs, the community there, it's incredibly powerful. And as you well pointed out, faith is just something that lives here. It's something that's like in the air, and it's definitely going to impact your Notre Dame experience one way or another, because the school is really going to push you to think about important questions. You're going to have to take 2 theologies while you're here. And so you're really going to be asked to think about, is there a God? And what does this mean for the way that you live our life? We live our life. And it's definitely one of the big components of the Notre Dame experience. And I will say personally, I have grown tremendously in my faith and while I've been here. And it's been a great journey, and I still have some time to go. So I can't wait for what that has to offer.
That's great. Thank you. All right, I have 2 final questions for you. The first should be rapid fire because I expect the same answer from all of you. So, Monday's an important day. It is it's Blessed Basil of Moreau's feast day. Okay, so that's a very important one to begin with. The founder of the Congregation of Holy Cross. We're honoring the great leadership of Martin Luther King Jr. It is the inauguration of our next president in the United States, and there happens to be a football game in Atlanta. So, Notre Dame or Ohio State?
Notre Dame.
Yes, okay.
This is not
Good
a
job,
question.
Brendan.
Go Irish.
Go
Notre
Irish.
Dame.
All right, Danny.
It was Irish every day.
Irish every day. All right, and I agree. We've got one more here to emerge victorious on. Okay, here's your real final question. Why Notre Dame?
Am I starting?
You're starting, Danny.
I got to give the big one.
Yep.
Notre Dame, I think the big thing about Notre Dame is when you step onto campus, there's something special that you just feel. Every person you walk by, I think there's almost this like welcoming atmosphere. When I toured for the first time, there would be random people who would just go, welcome home or welcome to Notre Dame. And I think it's the people of Notre Dame that make it so special because it's such a warm atmosphere they create and they want you to be a part of the community. And the admissions team really does such a great job here finding people who want to not only change their mind and what they're being educated with, but they also want to change people's hearts. And I think Notre Dame just does a great job of finding people, cultivating that atmosphere, and just kind of creating a family on campus that once your 4 years are up, you almost don't want to leave. So if I were to say why Notre Dame, it's because it's a place like no other. You'll find a family you'll never want to leave. And everyone here is the warmest and most welcoming person I've ever met. So
Thank you.
To build on that, I will be honest and say that I didn't think I was going to be at Notre Dame when I was first applying to schools, but I fell in love with the place the moment I stepped foot on campus. I visited to please my mom. She was the one that wanted to come and see the Golden Dome and everything. She'd seen so many pictures on YouTube videos. So I came and made her happy, and it ended up being like the definitive experience in deciding where I wanted to go to school. I fell in love with the school, with the people, as you well said, but I think I also realized through the people, through the school, through like information sessions and things like this, that Notre Dame was a place that it was not only a really, really good school where I was going to come out as the professional I wanted to be by the time I left college, but it was also just a great place that was going to turn me into the person I wanted to be by the time I left college. And realizing that when I was here and seeing it in people and the way that alumni talked about the school, I knew that Notre Dame was the right choice.
That's great. Thank you. How about you, Brendan?
I have a bit of, I guess, a little bit more unique reason for coming to Notre Dame, but I visited one time in February, and it was cold. It was so cold. I didn't have enough clothes, and I had so many clothes on, and I was like, wow, this is magical. Like, this is really magical. I saw the dome in person. It was February my junior year, and my counselor reached out to me and said, hey, there's this pre-college program for Notre Dame. It's 2 weeks long, and we think you would be like a great fit for it. We recommend you to apply. And I'm like, okay, I'll apply. And I always knew, like, Notre Dame, good football, really good school. Let's see what it's about, you know. And I apply. I got accepted. And I was like, whoa, okay. I'm going to be very far from home for the first time with no parents for 2 weeks. Let's see what this experience is, you know, all about. And I come up in the summer, and I get there, and I just meet these amazing people, and the resident counselors are they're current students, and they share their experiences, and they're not just camp counselors who want to just run an event and go home. They're camp counselors who want to make you a better person and want you to be a Notre Dame student, and they want you to know what it feels like to be a Notre Dame student for these 2 weeks. And it was an incredible experience. You know, I felt at home. And after that, I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else. Applying for college just felt like Notre Dame or bust. And as soon as I got accepted, I was like, I have to go, Mom. I have to go. And it's incredible. It's an unbelievable feeling. And on top of being well prepared for any career choice that you may want to, you know, go into, but it just makes you feel so welcome, so homey, and so fulfilled. It just fills my heart to be a Notre Dame student. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And this isn't a sponsored message, but if you know any rising juniors or like rising seniors, tell them to apply for pre-colleges. It not only teaches you about Notre Dame, but it kind of desensitizes you to what college really is. And I just felt like I had to come here after, you know, speaking to students, speaking to alumni, speaking to professors. I was able to take an intro-level marketing course as a rising senior in high school, and I was just so amazed by the resources that these teachers have and how incredibly passionate they are about teaching what they know and sharing the knowledge with young students. And it was just great, and I had to come here.
I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, I love it
So
here.
glad you did. Truly, you three warm our hearts. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you tonight. So thank you very much. And thank you to all of you who have submitted such wonderful questions. We are deeply grateful, and grateful that you have shared your evening with us. We hope that you have enjoyed the information we have shared about the Notre Dame experience. And please know that this is only one of many, many opportunities for you to engage with our team and the broader Notre Dame community over the coming months. We do look forward to seeing many of you at the rally, April 3rd through 5th. Mark your calendar and register if you have not done so. And of course, please follow us on social media. You can see the logos on the screen. We hope that you have a blessed and wonderful evening. And as we said a few moments ago, let's do this in unison, you guys. Go
Go
Irish!
Irish!
Take good care, everybody.